Today, the Senate Banking Committee returning from its August recess to consider President Obama's selection for director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Richard Cordray would be the first, but many Republican senators have made it clear they will block any nominee to head the Bureau unless major changes are made. Joining me now, one of those Republican senators, David Vitter of Louisiana. Welcome back to the show, Senator. Good to see you.
Thank you, Gerri, very much.
All right, so tell us about the hearing. Anything new out of the hearing about Cordray? Did it ease your worries at all?
I actually just flew in from Louisiana. Wasn't there, but I've read the transcript of the hearing and details about it, and there's nothing new. You know, he said all the right things, but it's not an issue of what he says. The issue is about the structure of the law, and objectively, the structure of the law does not give enough oversight and control in Congress. There's really no significant oversight, particularly in terms of funding for the super committee.
All right, I have to read you this quote from Barney Frank last week. He had comments about your reservations, and here's what he had to say. He said, delaying Cordray's confirmation is the legislative equivalent to an arsonist having set a fire and objecting to a building's inhabitants using the fire exit. What do you make of that?
It's pretty ironic, given that Barney Frank has been a huge supporter of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, one of the lead causes of the financial crisis, and yet those four words are nowhere in the financial regulatory reform bill that he put together. So I think he should look in the mirror before he criticizes others. But this is a serious issue. There simply isn't enough oversight with regard to this new position. Right. And this new bureaucracy, this new consumer affairs bureaucracy, is super powerful with no real control and oversight by Congress. And a lot of us think we shouldn't allow any confirmation into this position move forward until that is fixed.
Well, I'm going to quote you to you for just a second. You said,
sure,
this is a constitutional checks and balances issue, not a partisan issue. There's a real danger of the CFPB being a super bureaucracy that does a lot of damage to the economy by overreaching in its attempts to make decisions for consumers. Now, Senator, just to play devil's advocate here, I think you would be hard-pressed not to agree that consumers were not necessarily protected during the mortgage boom, the housing boom, and what happened afterwards.
I'd agree with that.
You know,
I'd agree with that. The question is how we fix it.
Right.
And I don't think this new super bureaucracy is a step in the right direction. For instance, they have an agenda to push a pro-consumer agenda, and there is no requirement that they worry about safety and soundness. Forgetting about safety and soundness concerns, ignoring those concerns has been one of the fundamental problems in the last 5 years that led to the crisis.
Well, let's describe that to our viewers. So, for example, the Federal Reserve has to worry about the safety and soundness of banks when they come out with any new rule. They can't do anything that undermines the safety and soundness of banks, and yet that requirement is not made of this bureau, correct?
Correct. This bureau is all about pushing a consumer agenda. And in that sense, it's very similar to, for instance, legislation in the past that has pushed that sort of pro-consumer agenda, but without worrying about safety and soundness concerns. That's what helped get the system out of whack and led to a lot of the problems that came to roost in 2008.
All right. Well, I just want to go over, you know, this laundry list of things the GOP finds problematic about the CFPB. They say we need a board, not a single director. Subject the Bureau to congressional appropriations process, because basically it gets any money it wants. And then the safety and soundness check that you just described.
Correct. Those are the three big points, Gerri.
Let me push you on one of these, the appropriations process. Isn't this just a way for Congress to get its hands around the throat of this Bureau, make sure it's doing what it wants?
Well, I mean, you can say get its hands around the throat of the Bureau. Another way to say it is have some oversight over a very important bureaucracy. Normally, Congress has oversight responsibilities over every agency and every board. And this is removing all of that oversight power completely because the fundamental power of Congress is the power of the purse.
All right. Senator, thanks for helping us out tonight.
Thanks,
Really
Gerri.
appreciate your
it.
time. Have a great afternoon. All right.